Okay, hello. I'm just doing a stream basically to test this new. Well, I've been using Ecamm Live, which I was actually really happy with. But I had huge issues having participants. So I did like this crazy Zoom thing. And from what I understood and then I moved to StreamYard, but StreamYard only supports like 1080p, which is pretty good, but which I've been streaming with as well. But the problem is the quality is really bad. Okay, this is interview. So I want to. How the hell do I invite someone? I should have checked that before. God damn it. Profile. And view, check preview mode. Add guests. There we go. Using the interview window. Oh. Okay. And where the hell did I go? Using the show interview window. Oh, turn on interview. Oh, nice. Add up to 4 video guests on your broadcast. 20 hours of interview time per month. Okay, cool. Activate. 20 hours of interview time. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, but let me try interview chat, copy link. Let me paste this link to myself. Oh, what the hell? There we go. Let's see what happens when I click it on my other computer. Okay, I'll jump into that one. Allow your name, Christian. Join. Let's see what happens. So it opened in the browser. Christian is joining. I think I should make sure. Okay, so I'm with myself here. Can I add? Oh, cool. So I can add. Nice. Guest is in green room. Add right. Oh, there we go. This is kind of weird. Let me turn off my microphone. There we go. So we don't duplicate the microphone. Okay, but at least it's me twice here, but I don't understand why this is so tiny. That's super weird. And what I worry the most, no, I don't worry about that, because okay, so in my browser, I actually see the screen as well, so that should be good. Like, that should be good enough to, and even I can share my screen. That's kind of cool. But it's kind of small on this other screen. How do I make it bigger? Show all controls. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Why can't I like make it big? Huh. Anyways, but what's even weirder is this how it looks here. It's super weird. Is there like a? Oh, this is overlays. What the hell? Yeah, that was overlays. Wasn't there like a scene? No, that's camera effects. Where's the scene picker? Oh, default and show scenes window. Yeah. Okay, but oh, interesting. Oh, so I can switch. Oh, that's kind of cool. I can switch between them. But it's kind of weird that well, I guess if I do something like this, you kind of see both of us. But crop to fill. Yeah, it's just kind of weird that it... Oh, there we go. Ah, there we go. Yeah. So I could do something like that. And now I'm actually not... I typically change the resolution on my screen, but I'm not doing that now. By the way, let's pull this so we can see that changes. Okay, but this is... I think this is working. This is pretty nice. And then... yeah, so maybe I should just talk about some stuff. So what I can do, I can make things bigger. Yeah, I can... Oh, that... Okay, this is nice. I can just make it... I wish there was like an indicator in VS Code. Like, what size am I on now? Can I see that somewhere? No. Anyways. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, so what I did in... yeah, I did some reflections on how to deal with the commands, and I'm landing on something I'm really happy about. So in the patterns documentation, well, maybe we can look at the API. So what we have now is, like, the core is very simple. You just create a plain reducer where you call this transition function and use handlers instead. And you can kind of do that inline, but what you would do is you would move those handlers outside the reducer and define them there and just reference the transitions. And then we have use state effect, we have match, match prop, and pick. Yeah, this is basically what you have in Lodash, I think, but it's related to picking what actions should be available within each state. So that's like such a necessary thing to do. And yeah, you can do it manually. Maybe it might be overkill to have pick here. Yeah, it might be overkill. Like, it's not the concern of this library. Anyways, and then we have command effect. So maybe we can take a look at that. So what I've been doing is, yes. So now you have your actions, you have your commands, and the commands is exactly the same now. There's no like prefix with the what was it, the dollar thingy. It's just plain now. And what I experienced when I had the previous version, where you could, like, you did a dollar thing like this, and then it would kind of include as many commands as you wanted in any state. The problem is that this command property just became invalid, basically. You didn't need it because you referenced the command by the key instead, which was a little bit weird. And so there was a risk of mismatch between like it wasn't consistent, and it was difficult to do typing with that approach. So I had to have like two different types to efficiently work that way. But now it's basically, but this makes more sense, right? It's the same pattern as the actions and the state itself. And then what to also take notice of here is that I'm also always spreading at the top now and defining the exact properties below, and that's part of the pattern as well. And that's just to make sure that none of the patterns, like, you might be spreading stuff. One thing is here, like, it's safe to spread this from this perspective, right? Because there's only a message here, but you don't actually know if there's something else there. You might be spreading something into the command or the action or the state for that matter, and that might contain properties that actually overrides the necessary properties. And then we have the states, and the way you express a command now is that you do indeed use a command symbol. And what happens now is that the use command hook looks for the symbol, and then it checks the command, the CMD property, to figure out what commands you have available. and then you just call the commands as normal here. And as you can see, use command effect now has a log because you happen to be pointing to one of the states, uses the command symbol pointing to a command which has the log as its name. And if we move to the patterns, what we see here is that you define your actions using a single params argument. And this is just, there's a balance between explicitness and kind of keeping things concise. So the way this works is that you use these params, you have the typing here. If you hover action A, you will always see like what's the full typing of the action. So you just spread the params as you have enough information here about how this action looks like. And then as I mentioned, the specific props comes last. And then it's the same for the commands, it has params. And the same is for state, it has params. But if you want to give it a command, the way I did this now, it would be possible to make the command part of the params. The problem is that if you were to destructure the params, you can't like efficiently point to a symbol. You have to kind of do this kind of thing, command, and then you have to rename it to something else, something like this. And you could also argue that the commands aren't like strictly params of the state. It's not like building the state itself. It's something kind of next to the state. So that's why I decided to make it the second argument. But it's a pattern. Like you can do whatever you want, but this is like the suggested pattern. And what's nice about this now is that there's no special typing to make this work. You just use the pick command type helper to point to what commands is supported here. And then typically it's optional, and you use the symbol and you point to the command. So this is passing a command from the outside, and then if you have a command that you just want to run every time you move into the state, or maybe it's based on some internal state, you can do that just as efficiently using the command symbol and calling a command. And then the way you include the actions is by either spreading all of them, or you would use this pick helper to choose some of them. Alternatively, you could actually do, like what I want to avoid is that you do this kind of thing. So action A, actions, action A, because you might have a typo here, and then that doesn't, like it will still work, but it doesn't really match the actual action. So everything, it's really nice to organize it by these keys. But these keys has to kind of be the same as type in this case, CMD in this case, and state in this case, right? It's just a way to kind of avoid having that issue. I was thinking about actually typing this so that if the key is actually different than the expected name here, I think I will be able to throw it as unknown. So like we already do that. If pick return type, oh, this isn't pick, this is actually return types now. That's also changed. It's not pick return types, it's just return types, because you're not actually picking them, you're just grabbing all of them. Unlike the TypeScript helper pick, which is like you pick certain keys from a record. Here we actually want every one of them. But if some of them don't match the type here, it will give an unknown back. And I could do the same when the key doesn't match, in this case, the type. We could give an unknown back, so you know that you're doing something wrong. But then this pick thing here is what ensures that you don't do this manual weird typing problem. And like a problem, it's not really a problem. It's just unnecessary, and it's a really nice way to choose the actions. Okay, so that's basically the updates. I've been applying these to this family Scrum reference project, and I hope to get that done this evening. But it's like, yeah, I'm like, you can argue either way where this should go. But and I'm going to write up the principles, like why does the API work the way it does? Why is it at the abstraction level it is? It's just there's some values around that, and it's most of it is tied to that we want this to look like as if it's just a reducer, because it really is. If you start putting abstractions on top of that, it seems like a framework or something, but it isn't. It is just a reducer. And then other values related to this is how you kind of put these pieces together, that it's like consistent and familiar, which is what we've achieved with these. And also that the typing is as precise as possible. And that's what we've achieved with these creators, is that you have these action creators, state creators, and even command creators. And it's the same pattern for all of them. And they make the typing very explicit, because you don't need to have like explicit return types and stuff like that. There's most of it is just inference. You don't really think about it, but the inference kind of secures your code, which I really like. Yes, and then we have the command symbol thing, which is basically there. You can do command like functionality manually by just adding, like you can do that in a plain reducer as well. But here I think it's best to be given actual concept of it, because it is, even though you can do it with a plain reducer as well with any property, it's basically just an object. It's still something else than just an object on a property. It's an actual command. So I think it's perfectly okay to have an explicit concept of that. And it's just this symbol. It's nothing else. It's just a symbol that the use command effect hook uses to figure out if it should run a specific command. Cool. Yes, I think that's okay for now. I'm curious how good this stream will be. Is it? I have no idea if it's actually streaming in 4K now, but we'll figure that out. And I also want to let me mute. Can I mute myself here? And then I'm going to speak in the other one. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, so now I'm speaking from my other computer just to see how this, well, I guess it's not the greatest quality, but at least, yeah, I think this should be good. I'm kind of disappointed that it uses the interview feature, which has 20 hours a month, but that should be enough, I guess. How many streams can I do with colleagues with 20 hours a month? It's so divided by 4. How much is that? How much is? I'm really bad. Being a developer or a programmer, my math skills are utter horrible. 5, of course. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, so I have 5 hours. Yeah, so I have like 1 hour a day. That should be fine. That should be perfectly fine. Okay, nice. I'll be streaming next week, so I'll talk to you then, and then we'll actually dive more into the code and everything. Cool. Bye for now.